What is up, my beautiful souls? Welcome back to Dose of Destiny. If you're new, I'm Destiny, and thank you for coming back each week for your dose of balance, whether that's spiritually, mentally, energetically, to see Shaena, all the things. So, this is my friend Shaena. She has been on the show before, and the last time that we were on here, we talked about basically inner child wounds, like mother wounds, father wounds, things like that. So today we just want to talk about our journeys, our spiritual journeys, basically what triggered them, and so much more that we're going to be bringing to the show. So, Shaina, do you want to go first? Tell us what really sparked that spiritual journey within you, and like what made you want to start getting closer to God and things like that.
So growing up, my family, like they were Christian, but not like living like Christians, I guess, like not practicing what they preach. So I didn't have my only relationship with God, I didn't have one. It was just like religion and like rules. And I mean, I didn't know like how to pray or like, I didn't even pray. I just like, well, I believe in God because like my mom says I believe in God because we believe in God. That's just like what everybody, that's what we believe in. I never questioned it. And when my cousin died in 2020, I was just having an existential crisis. I didn't know what life was. I didn't have any. I was like, what even is life? What does life even mean?
Yeah.
And after he died, I was just like so anxious and like overthinking my future because he died at a really young age, and I was like overthinking everything. I'm like, oh, my future, what does my future look like? Oh my gosh, I need to get married in X amount of years. I need to like have this career path and it has to go this certain way. So I was just going crazy, overthinking. And like when you're worried about the future, it's because you have lack of faith. You don't believe that it's in God's hands. And I didn't have that revelation at the time. I was like, oh, like, okay, God got it, but like God don't really got it because I was still trying to like have my hand in it instead of just like letting it go and letting God have it. So after he died, I started like kind of diving deeper into like who God is and having a relationship with him. It wasn't until like 2020 where I started like to like take it seriously and like, I was watching sermons on YouTube and just trying to get more educated on what it means to like believe in God and like, um and for me like my path was like being a Christian. Like that's just how God like revealed himself to me. And I started going to church and reading my Bible. And um last year I was like, you know what, like life's hard enough. It's just me and Jesus. We got it. It's just we gonna ride to the end. And I just dedicated my life to like living with and for him, because my life was very, very hard, and I just didn't have an identity. Like I didn't know who I was, and I feel like I truly found my identity in Jesus. Like I didn't know who I was, and all the things I worried about, it was just so superficial. And I was just taking life for granted, honestly. Like I was waking up in the morning thinking that God owed me that, like, like not thinking like I could have literally died in my sleep. Like I'm just taking these days for granted. Like it's just another day. If I was in a bad mood, it would ruin my whole day. And I just wasn't mindful at all. So it really changed my perspective in that sense of like living for now, for the moment. And even if I have the worst day, it was still a day that I woke up and I'm alive.
Yeah.
And hopefully I go to sleep and I wake up in the morning and I get to have a restart. You know what I mean? So I was just taking so many things for granted, and it just gave me a new outlook on life. And I'm not worried about my future as much. Like, to an extent, you're like, okay, like, what does my life look like? But how it was before, I was just so anxious and I would cry so much, and it would affected my relationship with my boyfriend because like I was just so overcome with like what does our life look like? What is it gonna look like? Like we have to do this by this certain time frame.
Yeah.
And it ended with like a lot of turmoil in our relationship because my anxiety and my overthinking was becoming like a divide in our relationship because I wasn't secure in myself and like who I was, and I was just like taking it out on him because I was just like I wasn't comfortable with myself. I'm like, I don't
Right.
know who I am. Um, and I don't know who I am. So how do you like who I am if I don't even know who that person is, you know? So it really has been like a blessing in my life and in my relationship with him because
Mm-hmm.
we don't I feel like we're putting like I was putting him first. We were putting each other first. Um instead of like, you know, turning to God and like what is God telling us to do? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like what how should we move forward? Like what is God saying that he wants for us in our relationship? Um so it really has like strengthened our relationship to both because we both grew up the same way. Like
Mm-hmm.
our family were Christian, we believe in God because like, you know,
Because
that's
they
what
told you
because
to.
they told us
Yeah.
to. So really like searching and just having deeper faith
Mm-hmm.
has helped us tremendously. And it's like something that, you know, I've made it clear that I want that to be a foundation now in our like that's what is the priority. That we both have a relationship, that we both have some spirituality to like lean on instead of
Right.
like always leaning on each other. You know what I
Right.
mean? So yeah, that's where I'm at. And I'm still, you know,
Trying to figure it out.
exactly.
Because that's just what the journey is. It's just trying to figure out trying to figure out who God is
Mm-hmm.
leads to you figuring out who you are
Exactly.
essentially.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to say you know God, just like it's so easy to say you love yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all a superficial
It
relationship.
is.
So until you really take that time to really do your own research, have your own
Yeah.
experiences with God, really pay attention to what's going on in your life, being grateful
Mm-hmm.
for the small things like
Yeah.
waking up in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that really helps you develop a deeper connection with God. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it also deepens your love for yourself
Yeah.
because you understand that God is love.
Mm-hmm.
And if you love God, you don't have any choice but to love yourself.
Exactly.
So it's like a full circle moment.
Really.
Honestly, it's like you go from the superficial relationship with yourself and God to a very deep, intimate type of connection
Mm-hmm.
to where you develop certain aspects about yourself
Mm-hmm.
that were never visible to begin with. Like a lot of people really idolize gaining money and gaining
Yeah.
um, things in the physical,
Yeah.
when really we should be idolizing knowledge
Mm-hmm.
and turning that knowledge into wisdom by having experiences and really showing love to yourself and to other people. Because I always say, how someone treats you is how they truly feel about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
How can anybody treat you with the utmost kindness and respect if they don't even treat themselves that way? It's a thing within that you have to develop. And also developing discernment. A lot of
Yeah.
people say, oh, well, I just be knowing. But like sometimes, like if you did know, you would have done better.
Mm-hmm.
So gaining that discernment muscle through a deeper connection with God
Yeah.
is just like, I don't think people understand like the things that you also have to let go of.
Mm-hmm.
Like with you saying that you wanted to even get a deeper relationship with God was you starting to let go of who you used to be
Yeah.
and stepping into who God wants you to be.
Mm-hmm.
And like with your boyfriend, you bringing God, putting God first as far as in the center of y'all's
Mm-hmm.
relationship. So like going to God before you and to each other before going to other people
Yeah.
and things like
Yeah.
that. So that's what I really love about having a connection with God,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
I love it too. I feel like what you said about taking it to God first, that's something I've had to learn in this season of my life. I found myself when I would come and bring my problems to other people, I was seeking validation.
Mm-hmm.
When I bring things to God, that's not what I'm seeking at all. I'm going to Him because you're going to give me the answer, whether it is to move forward or to turn the other way.
Mm-hmm.
When I was bringing it to people, I was just like kind of fishing for them to tell me what I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
And then when people don't say what you want to hear, you end up being like, well, dang, what?
Disappointed.
Disappointed, exactly. So it's just that's like a staple now in my relationship with God is bring it to him first, praying about it first, and then see what he reveals to me. And then in time, if it's meant for it to be shared with others, I do that. But that's when you also have to like listen to him, and
Yeah.
he gives you that like
Yeah.
discernment and that clarity that you need.
Yeah, when you go to him with your problems first, because like you said, we kind of seek validation from the people that surround us because they're gonna have a biased opinion about you. So like if you're telling people everything that you haven't even like really sorted through yourself, it brings in confusion.
Definitely.
And a lot of times that's how relationships end because it's too many hands in the pot. And sometimes it just needs to be you, your partner, and God.
And that's it.
You, your friend, and God. You, your mom, and God. Like just whatever relationship that you're in, making sure that that person is well aware of like how you feel and how you, if you want to move things forward or if you don't want to move things forward. As I've developed my relationship with God, I've realized that people not necessarily do owe you something, but they do owe you respect. At least they do owe you the truth. Like if you want to be in relationship with me in any kind of way, like you have to be able to express your truth to me.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to be in relationship with anybody who's holding on to something or who low key resents me or who low key feel, they feel some type of way about me. That's why like if I'm always quick to say something when something like truly bothers me. Some stuff I can look at and be like, okay, like that wasn't, I feel like that was that person's trauma speaking. I'm not like necessarily offended by that. Like I know that has nothing to do with me. So like I don't take it there. But some things do need to be addressed. Some things do need to be handled accordingly because I just feel like a relationship with God is how you should be moving in your relationships with everybody, and that's just with love and with respect and with care. Being able to trust that person. When you were saying asking God for clarity and things like that, how do you ask God for clarity? Like, how do you specifically ask God for clarity?
So I usually ask God like when I'm in prayer, and I try to like if I don't pray as soon as I get up in the morning, I do it before I leave my house. Like when I get in the car, that's like my reminder, like, okay, girl, you need to pray. I find such a huge difference when I don't start my day off that way.
Oh yeah.
When I don't like go in the quiet place with God and like, me and him, there's like a total difference in like my mood, how my whole day, like the trajectory of my whole day. So I'm just like, when I bring things to God, I'm just like, God, this is how I feel about this. Show me whether this is something that you want for me or if it's something I need to let go. So I always come to him with like what I think, is the solution or whatever the situation is.
Yeah.
And then I ask him, but if it's not this, show me. And if it is, give me like a nudge, like this is, either way, show me.
And it's like you'll know because I always ask, show me in a way that I can understand. Show me in a way that I won't miss.
Yeah.
Show me in a way like that brings me true clarity.
Yeah.
Because you can say, show me, you can be shown a million different things. But like, how do you know if that applies to what God is telling you?
Yeah.
Or if that's just your fear or if it's stemming from another place.
Yeah.
So I think actually having that relationship and building that muscle with God as far as prayer goes.
Yeah.
Just building that relationship with your intuition as well, because I feel like God speaks to us through our intuition. That's why a lot of women have like really strong intuitions because we're the closest thing to God. Like we're literally out here doing God's work by like birthing babies and like we can feed babies, bring babies to life, nurture, but like we have a very strong superpower that I don't think that a lot of women realize, but like God speaks to us through that intuition, and that's why we always be the ones that be knowing when other people don't know. Like we just have that deeper,
Mm-hmm.
more intimate connection with God just from being a
Yeah,
woman, you know?
definitely. I can see that. Um, Another thing that I add in prayer is, God, if it's your will, because that is just me taking my
Mm-hmm.
hands out of it. Because I know that, if God answers a prayer with a yes or a no, He's doing it for my benefit. Like, He is
Mm-hmm.
not going to lead me astray.
Mm-hmm.
So adding, only if it's your will, God, only if this is what's meant to be for me. Like, you can take it, give it to me. Either way, I'm going to be okay.
Yep.
Because you just have to take your hands out of it. We want to control so much.
Yes.
And
Are you talking? I feel attacked right now.
because like even me, like I'm such a control freak. Like I just want to like manipulate everything and have things a certain way, and that's really helped me to, one, when I say it, I mean it now. Like before I was like, God, if it's your will, and I'm like, please God, like, I don't know. But now I actually mean it. Like if it is your will, God, if this is your will for me, just let it happen how it's meant to be. And I truly have found peace in that, because there's something freeing about knowing that you can't control this. Like whatever happens is going to happen.
Oh yeah.
Like before, like that sentence would give me so much anxiety, but now it's just so freeing that all I gotta do is live. Like I just gotta be here.
Literally.
Like that's all I have to do. Like whatever is going on around me, I can't help it. I can't prevent it. And it's really freeing to just throw your hands up and be like, you know
Just be
what?
like, you know what? Okay. Okay, God, I get it.
Like
that's something that I've been working on so much.
Yeah.
And you know this, like we talk about this all the time. I'm like, dang, okay, no, I'm gonna do this. And then every single time
you get checked every single time. You get checked every time. And you get humbled. And that's what you need though. I honestly feel that's what keeps us close to him.
Yeah.
When we get humbled and it's like, okay, like I was doing too much.
Yeah.
And I was trying to act like you. Let me step back.
I'm really like out of my element here. You know, like I should not. I'm practicing out of my scope of practice, baby. This is not what I get paid for.
No, for real.
I just get paid to be here. That's it.
That is it.
I just need to show up, but like that's just all a part in acceptance. We have to accept what's happening, and sometimes we just can't. As humans, like because we know what we want and we know what we deserve. So it's like, well, why not now? And
God might be saying 5 years from now.
And listen,
it's a hard pill to swallow when you get the not right now.
Man, when I tell you, and then it's like not even like necessarily comparing yourself, but then you see it happening for everybody else, and it's like
you start comparing your food.
You start comparing. Listen, I'm growing a damn apple tree, and you know they say it take like 30 years to go. This person over here just grew a strawberry bush. Don't strawberries grow on bushes?
No idea, but I get what you're saying.
But like, I don't know how long it takes for strawberries to grow, but I don't think it takes that long. But I know apples take forever. So we have to know like what kind of fruit are we trying to grow? I mean, we don't know what kind of tree we trying to grow, but we know we growing something.
Right.
And these little short trees over here, they don't blossom, but I'm still growing. You know, you have to look at it that way. Like I'm still growing. I'm still growing into who I'm supposed to be, who God wants me to be.
Exactly.
And if that takes another painful 5 years, then this is what it takes.
And you just have to have faith that he's not going to leave you behind.
Right.
Like, it happened for this person in X amount of time, but your favor is coming. Like God is going to show up for you. It's just the timeline is different. That's when you gotta practice patience. But y'all don't be praying for patience, because God really gonna show you something.
Girl, what I tell you? Oh my God. I see why people don't get close together. I'm just playing. But
whatever you ask for, you're gonna get it, or it's gonna be revealed to you in the most humbling way. Ask for patience. You're gonna be waiting 5 years for your fruit that you waiting on.
Okay, Shaena, you know I get humbled every week. It seems like every week. Every week I'm coming, I'm telling Shaena. Just
I'm like,
happen.
what? One weekend goes by. I'm like, Destiny, it's only been 3 days. What is going on?
But like honestly, I'm such a like I have Sagittarius placements. I'm a Sagittarius moon. So like that part of me is so adventurous and like loves experiences.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like I learn a lot of stuff through my experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, some people can just learn by like one little thing, but I feel like I don't know why I just be going for the damn stars
Mm-hmm.
over here. But I feel like we have to also know how it is that God teaches us
Mm-hmm.
things, because you can keep going through the same things and like you know subconsciously that God is trying to teach you something,
Yep.
but you don't even like understand. You're not aware enough to look around and
Mm-hmm.
see what it is that God is teaching, what He's teaching you, and through who and through what,
Yeah.
and whatever situations that you're
Mm-hmm.
going through. So like, how do you feel you learn the most?
I learned the hard way. I learned after the fact, and I don't know if it's because I'm new, like with my relationship with God, and but I usually learn after the fact. I'm like, that's what you meant by that. And I
Yep.
always have like that remorse afterward, like, dang, like why do I have to learn this way? Why do I have to
Listen.
learn the hard way after the fact? But that's just where I'm at in my journey, and I am trying to practice discipline. And you know, when God shows me the first time listening, but I'm just very stubborn. God, he's still working on that part. But I'm just very stubborn, like my personality, with certain things. And right now in the season, I'm just learning things after the fact, the hard way. I would call this season the hard way of my life. Like I'm just learning things
Not
the
the
hard
hard
way.
way. But for real though, so like that just brings me to um like I feel like a relationship with God, like as you get deeper and deeper
Mm-hmm.
into it, more of your shadow aspects are highlighted. I notice the parts of me more that I need to put in check
Mm-hmm.
now that I'm like closer to God and closer to myself. Like, do
Mm-hmm.
you feel like that with yourself? Like, there are certain things that you still do that you're like, it's being like, oh, I probably shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely. Things like you still try to tweak,
like that manipulation thing.
yeah, I'm just like, Shaena, like sometimes I truly do want to like shake myself, but also in knowing that it's a process. And like for some people, when they get close to God, it's an overnight, they have that one encounter and they're a totally different person. And I am a different person than who I was prior to knowing God, but there's still a lot of things that I struggle with. Um, that that we've talked about. Like
Yeah,
I loving your neighbor, y'all.
it's hard. It's hard because
It's and I get it, God. I get it why you say that. But it's hard. It's a hard thing to do when you have to. And I feel like loving your neighbor is essentially being the bigger person every time.
but
And,
damn, I
and,
get tired of being a bigger
and
person.
that's a hard pill to swallow because it's like, why do I have to be the bigger person every time? Why do
Every
I have
single
to treat this person how
time.
I want to be treated when they're treating me any kind of way?
Girl.
It's hard because I feel like just in human nature, it's and like like in like our society, everybody's like about getting your lick back. Like you're not gonna get one on me. I'm gonna treat you how
Mm-hmm.
you treat me.
Getting revenge.
And it's I see why that's like a trend now because turning the other cheek when you just want to
I just want to,
exactly it takes
but
or like when you want to clap back and do all the things and and it's crazy because like God, I know when God is telling me to bite my tongue, like Shaena, think before you say that. And then and that's why I say I'm learning things the hard way because I'll hear that and I'll have that conviction and then I'll still be like, God, but I gotta say this. I gotta get this off my chest. And it's like you don't though. You know what I
yes.
mean? So that's why I said I'm learning things the hard way because it's like I have the conviction or and I have like I'm like God, Yeah, he pulled me by the shirt like this, like girl,
pulling
please.
you by these dress.
And I still do it. So I feel like loving your neighbor is something that I'm like a very loving person in general, but sometimes it's just like it's hard for me to be the bigger person and lead with and move with love all the time when you don't. That's not always what I receive or get back from people.
You know, it's a thin line at this point. It's a thin line between being the bigger person and when a motherfucker got you fucked up.
Yeah.
People it's walking over you. Yes, people walking over you. Like sometimes you do have to stand up for yourself and be like, no.
Yeah.
That's what's not gonna happen. Like you're not about to treat me that way. And like that's the kind of season that I'm in right now. It's like, yeah, I can work on like some of the things that I say. But you know, at the end of the day, if somebody got me fucked up, they just do, and I'm gonna let you know that.
Yeah.
And that's just the bottom line. Because we have to stand up for ourselves. We can't let people just do what they want.
Yeah.
But then it's also like knowing, like I said earlier,
you have to have that discernment, like you said. Like, not every thought that pops up in my mind has to be spoken. That's like what I struggle with, because then I have like, why did you say that? Like, I always have that, like, because like I said before, I'm an overthinker, like generally, like so I'm always like, when I have like conversations or like interactions, I'm always thinking about it, like, and if something doesn't sit right with me, I know, because it'll like bother me and I won't stop thinking about it.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I know that God's like, Miss Girl, now
that was not the right thing to say. You did not have to say that.
Exactly.
Like, the other day at work when I was like, dang, I really did not have to say that. Yes. But I mean,
but that's also how I know that God is with me and working with me, because like before I would not have had that revelation. Like, I would have been like, and I said it, and what? But now I'm like, you didn't have to say it though. Like, I didn't have that conviction. Like, when you have like certain, like, that conviction, I'm like, maybe that wasn't the right. Maybe I shouldn't have done that, or maybe I should have said that's not you, because that's not who you were before. Like, that's literally God. Like, because I would not have thunk twice about saying certain things in the past. But I'm like, okay, God he's been clocking me.
So it's like, now that we have a closer relationship with God, we cannot move the way we want to move. And that's the hardest part about it, is like letting go of that part of yourself, because I feel like that's like such a big part of you, how you move. So it's like, if you are used to gossiping, if you're used to betraying your friends, if you're used to whatever, lying,
the white lies and the what's the red lies, blue lies, whatever the other color.
I didn't know all about. I just know about white lies.
It's just white lies. A lie's a lie, y'all. When you start with them little lies, like, when we grow up, like we were kids, like, oh, it's just a little white lie. No, like, you'll find yourself lying about things you have no business lying about, like, for no reason. Like, even if like you cancel plans or something, and you're like, oh, I'm sick, or something like that, like calling out work because you're sick. It starts off like that, and then you like start lying about bigger things. So like, when you open that door, you have to be really careful with the way that you speak also, because I was like, that's something else that God was working on me, like lying about little things, like very little things that seem minuscule, but I'm like, why did I lie about that? There's so much freedom in truth. Like, why? Like, if you don't want to do something, just say you don't want to do it.
Listen,
if you don't want to go nowhere, just say you don't want to go.
I feel like y'all give me too much trouble about that, because every time I say what I truly feel, y'all be like, oh, Destiny, and I'm like,
yeah, like, Destiny's like the most honest person I know. Like, I'm usually taken aback by how honest you are.
But like, I can't
I admire it. Like, I just want to be able to, like, one day I'll be able to just speak freely,
girl, because it's like, who are you? Who are you?
Right.
Like, why am I gonna be scared to tell you the truth?
Yeah.
Like, I ain't scared of you, baby. I am gonna tell you exactly. I try to have a better tone nowadays. Mm-hmm. Like I've always been honest, but my tone and my delivery has not always been the greatest, and that's something that I've been working on. And I feel like I've gotten a lot better.
I agree.
But like I still am going to tell you, like, no, I don't really want to. I don't feel like it.
When they say the truth will set you free, it is literally so true,
girl.
Because I didn't realize how much of that stuff you hold on to, and like it comes out, like it manifests in different ways.
Oh yeah.
Like when I used to hold on to things and not express my feelings and like gaslight myself, like you don't really feel this way, or you're crazy for feeling this way.
It manifests as anxiety.
Literally.
Like I am not about to be walking around here anxious, feeling depressed and stuff like that, because those are things that you can fix by simply getting closer to God, to be yourself. Yep. A lot of you guys are depressed because you're not being yourself. A lot of you guys are anxious because you're in situations that you don't want to be in, that you were not being honest about. Yep. And that is just the bottom line. I'm just like over living my life and like being a people pleaser.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's exhausting.
Girl. Like
out of the almost 24 years of my life, being a people pleaser, literally I stopped being a people pleaser last year. Like literally. Like I was born. I don't want to say I was born because God did not have that written for me. I made that. I manifested that myself. But like I grew up being a people pleaser, and it's exhausting. And now I'm just like, anybody can get it because I'm tired.
And sometimes you have to have that type of mentality because people will take advantage of your people pleasing ways. And I've been in those situations before. And actually, I've been in those type of situations here recently. Like my people pleasing ways would have made me end up in situations that I didn't want to be in. And then now I'm hurting myself. And this person is gaining from my hurt.
Yeah.
So, like, when you look at it that way, you'll easily snap out of being a people pleaser because you're not going to benefit off of my pain. You're not going to benefit off of the fact that I'm just trying to make somebody happy. Like, no, it's just not happening nowadays. So, I'm thankful for those parts of the journey that helps to come out of those ways that hurt yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
Because, it's easy to say, you don't do what anybody say, but at the end of the day, do you really not? Like, do you go because this person wants you to go?
Yeah.
Do you still like? I just can't live my life that way no more.
It's exhausting.
It is.
Thank you for deliverance, cause people pleasing, it'll take it out of you, honey.
Man, when I tell,
ain't nobody worried about pleasing you. Why am I worried about pleasing this person?
That's why our ancestors had high blood pressure and brain aneurysms and diabetes.
And I mean, when I feel like I grew up like having to do things I didn't want to do. Right. People make you feel bad. Sure, if you don't want to hug a family member, they make you feel bad.
And I'm like, just be not. But like, if I don't really, because kids be feeling the vibes. Yeah. And if the vibes ain't there, like if my child don't want to hug you,
and that's exactly how I raise my kids. If they don't want to hug their second aunt on their daddy's side,
because they weird, they got weird vibes,
or their breath stink.
Like. So people pleaser no more, honey, because nobody has time for that. We are only in a space to be ourselves, be authentic, and just really live unapologetically, because that is the hardest part about this human experience, is just being yourself. So I think that we are ourselves, and we owe God that to just be ourselves for ourselves and society. So I think that is where we're going to end off. I hope that y'all enjoyed this episode as much as we enjoyed making it. Go and check out my podcast. This will be on YouTube and on Apple and Spotify. So go and make sure you check that out, and on whichever platform. So I hope that you guys have the most blessed, productive, restful, people pleaserness.
Please God, damn it.
That's it. That's it. People pleasingness ways. Leave that in last week, okay? So I'll see y'all the next time that we link up. Bye. This is fun.